The Knights Templar were a powerful military order of the medieval period that played a significant role in the Crusades. Their legendary status as warrior monks, along with their wealth and influence, made them a target of envy and suspicion from both political and religious authorities. In this video, we will delve into the rise and fall of the Templars, exploring their origins, their military campaigns, their mysterious rituals, and the events that led to their downfall. Join us as we uncover the secrets of one of the most fascinating and controversial organizations of the Middle Ages. In 1119 CE, the Knights Templar were founded and were officially recognized by the papacy in 1129. This Catholic military order in the medieval period was composed of members who lived a monastic life while using their martial abilities to safeguard Christian holy sites and pilgrims in the Middle East and other regions. The Templars played a crucial and prestigious role in Crusader armies and had their headquarters first in Jerusalem and later in Acre. As time went on, the Knights Templar grew into a highly influential organization and acquired control over numerous castles and territories in Europe and the Levant. The order faced allegations of heresy, corruption, and engaging in prohibited practices, leading to an assault by French King Philip IV on Friday the 13th of October 1307, and its official dissolution by Pope Clement V in 1312. In 1119 CE, a brotherhood was established by 7 knights, led by Hugh of Paynes, a French nobleman from Champagne, who pledged to defend Christian pilgrims in Jerusalem and the Holy Land. They took monastic vows, including vows of poverty, and lived together in a self-contained community that adhered to a prescribed code of conduct. In 1120, Baldwin II, the king of the Kingdom of Jerusalem, bequeathed the former Aqsa Mosque on the Temple Mount of Jerusalem, which became the Knights' headquarters. The edifice was commonly known as the Temple of Solomon, resulting in the brotherhood being referred to as either the Order of the Knights of the Temple of Solomon or simply the Templars. In January 1129, at the Council of Troyes, Pope Honorius II officially recognized the Templars as an order, initially considering them a branch of the Cistercians. In 1145, the knights were authorized to wear the white hooded mantle, which was previously reserved for Cistercian monks. The knights subsequently adopted their distinct white cloak and a red cross on a white background as their emblem. As long as the cause was just, such as the Crusades and the protection of the Holy Land, religious doctrine did not pose an obstacle to fighting. As a result, the order obtained the Church's official endorsement. In 1147, the Templar Knights engaged in their first significant conflict against Muslims during the Second Crusade. The order's influence expanded as a result of contributions from supporters who acknowledged their crucial role in protecting the minor Christian states in the Levant. Individuals from all walks of life, from the most impoverished to the wealthiest, donated whatever they could to assist in ensuring a more desirable afterlife and, through prayer services, a better life in the present. Contributions arrived in various forms, but money, land, horses, military equipment, and foodstuffs were the most prevalent. On occasion, privileges were bestowed, which helped the order save on its own expenses. The Templars also invested their funds in revenue-generating assets, acquiring farms, vineyards, mills, churches, townships, and other profitable properties. Successful campaigns resulted in the order obtaining additional lands and spoils, while tribute could be extracted from conquered territories, lands controlled by Templar castles, and weaker rival states in the Levant, further adding to their coffers. As a result, the order was able to establish subsidiary centers in most Western European countries, which provided significant revenue and new recruits. Despite money flowing in from all over Europe, the Templars had to bear significant expenses. Maintaining knights, their squires, horses, and equipment all had an impact on the order's finances. The Templars were obligated to pay taxes to the state, provide donations to the papacy, and sometimes tithe to the church. They also had to offer payoffs to local dignitaries, and performing masses and other services incurred significant costs. As a charitable organization, the Templars were expected to assist the poor distributing 1/10 of their bread production to the needy. Additionally, military defeats resulted in substantial losses of men and property. Although the exact financial records of the Templars are unknown, it is likely that the order was not as wealthy as commonly believed. During the mid-12th century, the Templars expanded their reach and participated in crusades in Iberia on behalf of various Spanish and Portuguese rulers. The Knights Templar expanded their operations to include the Baltic Crusades against pagans, and by the 13th century, they owned estates throughout Europe, from England to Bohemia, and had become a truly international military order with vast resources. Their organizational structure served as a model for other military orders, such as the Knights Hospitaller and the Teutonic Knights. The Templars were particularly skilled in banking. The locals considered Templar communities or convents as secure places where they could deposit their cash, jewels, and important documents. The order had its cash reserves, which were used to earn interest on loans as early as 1130. Moreover, the Templars allowed people to deposit money in one convent, and upon presenting a suitable letter, transfer and withdraw an equivalent amount from a different convent. The Templars offered various banking services, such as current accounts and fixed sum payments. They became so renowned for their banking abilities that the kings of France and other nobles entrusted their treasuries to them. During the Crusades, cash sums were forwarded to the Templars to pay armies and meet supply needs. They also lent money to rulers and contributed to the sophisticated financial structure of late medieval Europe. The order attracted recruits from all over Western Europe, with France being the largest single source. The Templars were motivated to defend Christians and the Holy Land by a sense of religious duty as a means of atonement for sins, for the prospect of gaining entry into heaven, or for more worldly reasons such as seeking adventure, personal gain, social advancement, or even just a stable source of income and food. To be accepted into the order, a recruit had to be a free man of legitimate birth, and from the 13th century onward, of knightly descent if they wished to become a medieval knight. Although rare, a married man could join with the consent of his spouse. New recruits were generally expected to make a significant donation upon joining, and their financial standing was taken into consideration as debts were unacceptable. Most recruits to the Templars were in their mid-20s, although some minors did join, and occasionally older men would also become members of the order. One example is the famous English knight Sir William Marshall, who, similar to many nobles, joined the order shortly before his death, left them money in his will, and was buried in Temple Church, London, where his effigy remains today. Within the order, there were two ranks, knights and sergeants, with the latter group consisting of non-military personnel and laymen. Most recruits were assigned to the second group. In fact, the number of knights in the order was surprisingly small. There were perhaps only a few hundred full-brother Templar knights at any given time, and in times of intense warfare, this number could rise to 500 knights. These knights were significantly outnumbered by other soldiers employed by the order, such as infantry and mercenaries, as well as squires, baggage bearers, and other non-combatants. The order comprised a diverse group of individuals such as priests, craftsmen, laborers, servants, and even some women who belonged to affiliated nunneries. At the helm of the order was the Grand Master, who occupied the highest position within a hierarchical structure. Convents were divided into priories based on their geographical location. In conflict-ridden zones such as the Levant, many convents were situated in castles, while elsewhere they were established to govern areas of land owned by the order. The management of each convent was entrusted to a preceptor or commander who reported to the head of the priory in which their convent was located. To establish a sense of unity between distant branches, letters, documents, and news reports were exchanged among the convents, all carrying the seal of the order, most commonly 2 knights on a single horse. Convents typically forwarded 1/3 of their revenue to the order's headquarters. The Grand Master of the order, initially based in Jerusalem and then in Acre from 1191, and later in Cyprus from 1291, was the top authority in a hierarchical pyramid of power. Assisting the Grand Master were high-ranking officials like the Grand Commander and Marshal, as well as lower-ranking officials in charge of specific supplies such as clothing. While there were occasional meetings or chapters of representatives from across the order and at the provincial level, local convents seem to have had a great deal of autonomy, and only cases of serious misconduct were ever punished. Like in monasteries, knights took vows upon joining the order, although the vows were not as strict and did not require remaining in communal accommodation at all times. The most important vow was obedience to the Grand Master, and attendance at church services, celibacy, and communal meals were mandatory. To enter the order, knights were required to give up worldly pleasures such as hunting and hawking and flashy clothing and arms, which were associated with knighthood. Instead, they were expected to wear a simple wool cord belt to symbolize chastity, and a white surcoat and cloak over their armor, with a red cross on their left breast. This made them easily identifiable from other knightly orders, such as the Knights Hospitaller and the Teutonic Knights, who had different colors and symbols. The order's shields were typically white with a thick black horizontal stripe across the top, while sergeants wore a brown or black mantle or cloak. It was important for knights to attend church services regularly, to take vows of obedience to the Grand Master, and to refrain from indulging in worldly pleasures. The Templars had a unique physical appearance with beards and short hair. Unlike some other military orders, they were allowed to have personal possessions. There was some flexibility in clothing regulations with linen permitted in spring and summer. However, failure to follow the rule would result in punishment, ranging from losing privileges to flogging or imprisonment. The Templar knights were highly skilled with various weapons such as the lance, sword, and crossbow. They were also well armored and considered the best trained and equipped members of a Crusader army. Due to their capabilities, they were often assigned to protect the flanks, vanguard, and rear of an army in battle. The Templars were known for their disciplined group cavalry charges, where they charged through enemy lines in a tight formation, causing chaos that could be exploited by Allied troops. They were also highly disciplined both in battle and in camp, with severe penalties for disobedience. This made them difficult for Crusade commanders to control, as they were often the most zealous and eager troops seeking honor and glory. In addition to their military duties, the Templars were often assigned to defend important passes, such as the one at Amanus north of Antioch. They also acquired lands and castles that the Crusader states were unable to maintain due to a lack of manpower. The Templars were also engaged in rebuilding castles, either those that had been destroyed or creating new ones to better protect the Christian territories. In addition to their military efforts, they remained dedicated to their original purpose of safeguarding pilgrims and manned various forts along the pilgrimage routes in the Levant, sometimes even providing personal protection. Despite achieving numerous successes, such as the sieges of Acre, 1189–91, Damietta, 1218–19, and Constantinople, 1204, they experienced significant defeats throughout their history. Due to their fearsome reputation as warriors, the Templars were often executed if captured. At the Battle of La Forbie in Gaza in October 1244, an Ayyubid army defeated a large Latin army, resulting in the deaths of 300 Templar knights. Similarly, after the Battle of Hattin in 1187, which was won by Saladin, Sultan of Egypt and Syria, 230 captured Templar knights were beheaded. Higher-ranking members of the order were typically ransomed back to their own people, a common practice during the period. The Templars relinquished their castle at Gaza in order to secure the release of their captured master after the disastrous Battle of La Forbie in 1244. Another crushing defeat befell them at the Battle of Mansoura in Egypt during the Seventh Crusade in 1250. However, the extensive network of convents seemed to be able to replenish any losses in resources and manpower. Given their vast lands and reserves, the military orders, including the Templars, became a powerful military force and largely operated as a law unto themselves. Western rulers became wary of them, particularly as they were accused of abusing their privileges, being corrupt, and accumulating excessive wealth. Detractors claimed that they lived extravagant lives and squandered funds that could have been used to maintain troops for the Holy War. The Templars faced criticism for allegedly squandering resources to compete with rival orders, particularly the Hospitallers, and for being incompatible as a combination of monks and warriors. Some accused the order of having no interest in converting Muslims and solely seeking their elimination. These accusations were largely based on ignorance, exaggeration, jealousy, and suspicion. However, by the end of the 13th century, many believed that the military orders had become too independent, and merging them into a single organization could make them more accountable to the church and state rulers. Later, from approximately 1307, more serious allegations against the Templars surfaced, accusing them of denying Christ as God, the crucifixion, and the cross. To begin with, there were allegations that the initiation process for joining the Templar Brotherhood involved committing sacrilegious acts such as spitting, urinating, and trampling on a crucifix. The French government, in particular, made these charges public. The clergy, too, resented the order's privileges, including burial rights that could be a source of income for local churches. The political and religious establishment united to dismantle the Templars, possibly triggered by the loss of the Crusade estates in 1291. On Friday, the 13th of October 1307, King Philip IV of France ordered the arrest of all Templars in France. Although his motives remain unclear, modern historians have suggested various possibilities, such as the Templars' military threat, the desire to acquire their wealth, an opportunity to gain a political advantage over the papacy, and even that Philip himself believed the rumors against the order. Further accusations were leveled against the Templars, including promoting homosexual practices, indecent kissing, and idol worship. Although Pope Clement V initially defended the order against these unfounded allegations, King Philip IV of France managed to extract confessions from several Templars, including Grand Master James of Molay. As a result, the Pope ordered the arrest of all Templars in Western Europe, and their assets were seized. The Templars were unable to resist except in Aragon, where some held out in their castles until 1308. A trial followed in Paris in 1310, and 54 brothers were burned at the stake. In 1314, the Grand Master of the Order, James of Molay, and the Preceptor of Normandy, Geoffrey of Charny, were also burned in Paris, with James still protesting his innocence as he was led to his funeral pyre. The Council of Vienne in 1311 ultimately determined the fate of the Templar Order. During the 3 years leading up to the council, investigations were carried out across Europe, taking into account confessions, which varied in nature. Some knights in France and Italy, and 3 from England admitting to all charges, but none regarding the most serious allegations from Cyprus or the Iberian Peninsula. A group of knights who were called to defend themselves were not given the chance to do so, and when King Philip IV of France arrived at the council, the Pope declared the order disbanded on April 3, 1312. However, the reason behind the decision was the damaging loss of reputation rather than a verdict of guilt, as there was no concrete evidence provided to support the accusations, such as records or statues of idols. Additionally, several knights who had previously confessed to the accusations later withdrew their statements, even though they were already sentenced to punishment and had nothing to gain by doing so. The majority of former Templar knights received pensions and were prohibited from joining any other military orders. On May 2, 1312, the Pope ordered the transfer of many of the Templars' assets to the Knights Hospitaller. However, a significant portion of the order's land and wealth ended up in the hands of nobles, particularly in Castile. The persecution of the Templars had minimal impact on the other military orders. Discussions about merging them into a single entity yielded no results, and the Teutonic Knights, who were more deserving of criticism than any other order, were spared due to their close ties to secular German rulers. In 1309, the Teutonic Knights relocated their headquarters from Vienna to the more secluded region of Prussia, while the Knights Hospitaller made a wise decision to move their headquarters to the safer island of Rhodes. These strategic moves likely secured the future existence of both orders in some form or another, up until the present day. We hope you've enjoyed learning about the fascinating history of this legendary order. If you found this video informative and entertaining, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel for more exciting content like this. Also, don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Thanks again for watching.